Before recorded history, before the empires we read about in books, this land breathed with a different rhythm. A rhythm set by peoples who understood the earth not as something to be conquered, but as a living, breathing mother. These were the first Americans, the ancient tribes of the North, whose legacy is etched not in stone monuments, but in the wind that whispers through the Great Plains and the silent forests. They lived in harmony with the seasons, their lives a continuous ceremony celebrating the world around them. From the shores of the Great Lakes to the deserts of the Southwest, they built societies based on respect and a deep spiritual connection to all living things. Their rituals weren't just traditions, they were a dialogue with the cosmos, a way of understanding their place in the vast, cyclical dance of life and death. They saw the divine in the flight of an eagle, the strength of a bison, and the wisdom of the ancient trees. Their stories, passed down through generations around crackling fires, spoke of creation, of spirit animals, and of a balance that must be maintained. These weren't simple tales, they were the very fabric of their existence, the moral compass that guided their communities. But this way of life, this profound understanding of the world, was just the beginning. The seeds of these northern cultures would travel south on the winds of trade and migration, planting the roots for something even grander, something monumental. Deep in the jungles of Mexico, I stumbled upon it. Half buried under a century of vines and soil, a stone disc covered in symbols I'd only seen in forgotten books. As my fingers traced the intricate carvings, the humid air grew heavy, the sounds of the jungle faded, and the world around me dissolved. The stone pulsed with a faint warmth, and I was no longer standing in the present. I was falling through time. The jungle canopy parted, not to reveal ruins, but a living, breathing city of impossible scale. Towering pyramids pierced the sky, their stone faces painted in vibrant colors, gleaming under the tropical sun. This was the world of the Maya, a civilization born from the heart of the jungle. They were masters of time, stargazers who mapped the heavens with a precision that baffles us to this day. Their cities, like Tikal and Palenque, were not just urban centers. They were cosmic engines aligned with the movements of planets and stars. I saw astronomers on temple summits, their eyes fixed on the celestial ballet, charting the course of Venus and predicting eclipses with breathtaking accuracy. They developed a complex system of writing, one of the few to emerge independently in the ancient world. And their understanding of mathematics, including the concept of zero, was centuries ahead of its time. Their society was a tapestry of brilliant scholars, fierce kings who claimed lineage from the gods, and everyday people whose lives were governed by the sacred calendar. They believed the gods descended from the sky, bringing knowledge and order, and they honored them with elaborate ceremonies and grand ball games that were as much a religious ritual as a sport. But even a civilization that could map the stars couldn't foresee its own twilight. Slowly, mysteriously, the great Mayan cities of the south were abandoned. The people melted back into the jungle, leaving their stone metropolises to be reclaimed by nature, their downfall a puzzle that remains unsolved. As the vision of the silent Mayan cities faded, the timeline shifted again, pulling me north to a valley cradled by mountains, where a vast lake shimmered like a mirror to the sky. From its center rose a city that defied imagination, Tenochtitlan, the magnificent capital of the Aztec Empire. This was a metropolis built on water, a marvel of engineering with floating gardens, or chinampas that fed a population of hundreds of thousands. Causeways connected the island city to the mainland, and canals served as its bustling streets, filled with canoes carrying goods from every corner of their sprawling empire. The Aztecs were a people of prophecy and power. Their legends told of a long migration, guided by their god Huitzilopochtli, who commanded them to build their city where they saw an eagle devouring a snake atop a cactus. Here, they built an empire that was both feared and revered. Their society was highly structured, from the emperor, the Huey Tlatoani, who was seen as a semi-divine ruler, to the elite eagle and jaguar warriors, to the poets and artisans who created breathtaking works of art. The marketplace of Tlatelolco was a kaleidoscope of color and sound, a testament to their vast trade network. But their cosmology was a demanding one. They believed the sun was in a constant battle against darkness and required the most precious offering of all to keep it moving across the sky. This belief fueled a culture of ritual and sacrifice that was central to their existence, a worldview that would seem brutal and incomprehensible to outsiders. Their power seemed absolute, their city impregnable. Yet, from across the Eastern Sea, a new force was approaching, one that would bring not just conquest, but a cataclysm that would shatter their world. The vision then swept me southward, over dense jungles and along the spine of the world, the Andes Mountains. Here, high in the thin, crisp air, another empire flourished, one bound not by writing, but by a network of roads and a system of knotted cords known as the quipu. This was the domain of the Inca, the children of the sun. Their capital, Cusco, was the navel of their universe, a city of exquisite stonework, its walls fitted together so perfectly that not even a knife's blade could pass between them. From here, the Sapa Inca, a divine ruler, presided over an empire that stretched for thousands of miles. The Inca were master organizers and engineers. They built an incredible road system, complete with suspension bridges and way stations, that united their diverse and rugged territory. They terraced the steep mountainsides to create fertile farmland, and their administrative control was absolute, ensuring that every citizen had work, food, and shelter. Their wealth in gold and silver was legendary, but to them, these metals weren't currency. They were sacred, the sweat of the sun and the tears of the moon used to adorn their temples and honor their gods. I saw the city of Machu Picchu, nestled on a mountain ridge, a royal estate of impossible beauty and mystery, a testament to their harmony with the landscape. Their world was one of order, of community, of a deep reverence for the sun god, Inti, and the earth mother, Pachamama. It was a world that felt eternal, protected by the formidable peaks of the Andes. But like the Aztecs, they were unaware of the storm gathering across the ocean. Then the final, tragic chapter unfolded. The vision shifted from a world of color and life to one of fire and shadow. I saw the arrival of the Spanish conquistadors. Their ships were like floating fortresses, their steel armor and cannons things of nightmare. To the Aztecs, they were perhaps the returning god Quetzalcoatl, a prophecy tragically fulfilled. To the Inca, they were avaricious invaders who exploited a civil war. For all the native peoples, it was an apocalypse. These were not just battles, they were collisions of worlds. A clash between civilizations that revered nature and those who sought to master it. The great temples were toppled, the golden idols melted down, and the ancient libraries of knowledge were put to the torch. Entire populations were decimated, not just by the sword, but by invisible enemies' diseases to which they had no immunity. The majestic city of Tenochtitlan was reduced to rubble, and upon its ruins, a new city for a new god was built. The Inca Empire was broken, its divine king executed. A world that had existed for millennia was erased in a single generation. The intricate tapestry of cultures, languages, and beliefs, painstakingly woven over centuries, was torn asunder. The voices that sang to the sun and whispered to the stars fell silent. My hand pulled back from the stone, and I was back in the jungle, the modern world rushing back in. The air was thick with the scent of damp earth and decay. The artifact in front of me was just a rock again, cold and inert. But it wasn't. I had seen what it held. I had heard the echoes. The great civilizations of the Americas are gone. Their cities are ruins, their empires memories. We call them lost, but are they? Their spirit was not just in their temples or their gold. It was in their reverence for the earth, their understanding that we are a part of nature, not its master. This is a wisdom we are desperately trying to relearn today. They were erased, but their legacy whispers to us. It whispers on the wind that sweeps across the plains, in the rustle of leaves in the Amazon, and in the silent, imposing stones of Machu Picchu. They remind us of a time when humanity looked to the sky not just with curiosity, but with humility and wonder. Their voices were silenced, but if we listen closely, we can still hear them. They are the voices of the lost earth, and their story is a part of all of us. Thank you so much for joining me on this incredible journey through time. If these stories of our shared human history fascinate you, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel for more explorations into the world's forgotten past. Your support makes it all possible. Until next time, keep exploring.